I'm 21 years old and I'm going all in on Bitcoin, and this is why. I think Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin, and the reason I say that is because you have not missed the boat. It is not too late. Just because we've reached $100,000, there's going to be some more zeros coming. We're going to reach a million potentially in the next year to 5 years. It doesn't matter. You want to be a part of Bitcoin, and I'm here to tell you why. There is a huge supply squeeze happening, and you essentially want to be a part of the next leg up, or else you will miss out, and essentially we might never ever see these cheap prices again. So we're going to look at key Bitcoin supply and circulation facts. So Bitcoin is made up of 21 million coins. That's all there will ever be. You can't get 22 million Bitcoins. You can't get 100 million Bitcoins. At the end of the day, 21 million is the max. It's the only asset class with a cap supply, and it cannot be changed. As of 2025, May, over 19.8 million Bitcoins have been mined, which is essentially 90% of the total supply has already been created, has already been released, and we're fighting over the last 10%. Now, by 2036 to 2040, so between that period, 99% of all the Bitcoins will have been mined. So that's only about 10 to 15 years away. And it's only going to leave us with 100,000 Bitcoins to ever be mined, to ever be released and added to the supply. So we really need to lock in now, because after that period, we're essentially fighting over 100,000 Bitcoins for the next 100 to 1,000 years. So you want to be getting now. Approximately 1 million of the Bitcoins remain to be mined, and therefore the process slowing due to the halving. Now, the halving is essentially Bitcoin's mining and all aspects to it get halved. So let's say right now 450 Bitcoins are released daily. That will then become 225 in approximately 3 years from now, which is every 4 years. So Bitcoin does a 4-year cycle, and essentially every 4 years the bull run gets kicked off by the halving because there's a supply squeeze. Now, major holders, we're going to look at Michael Saylor's company Strategy. He holds over 560,000 Bitcoin. And then on top of that, he's a public traded company. But on top of that, we've got Bitcoin ETF. So an ETF is essentially just an investment firm. You invest in them and they hold the asset that you don't want to get your hands dirty with. So it might just be silver, it might be gold, it might be real estate. And you invest in them. They invest in those things for you. They essentially hold those things for you, and you reap the benefits of price appreciation. Now, collectively, ETFs across the world own over 1 million Bitcoin, so a huge supply squeeze happening right now. Now, approximately 1.5 million Bitcoins are on exchanges right now, which means they're in the market, ready for grabs. Anyone can go buy Bitcoin now, but there's only 1.5 million. That number is so small, because it's the lowest level since 2019, which is essentially meaning everyone is moving into self-custody, into their own wallets, taking it off the market, locking it up for a long period of time, and sending Bitcoin to the moon, sending its supply down to zero up for grabs, but sending the price to the moon. That is so small. Like, look at the major holders. Look how much they are buying. Like, Michael Saylor literally bought like 10,000 Bitcoin the other day, and it was effortlessly done, regardless of the price. Now, if we look down to the halving cycle and the mining rate, I'm not going to read out all these numbers, but essentially we started with daily Bitcoin mined around 7,200 in the early days of Bitcoin, and we are all the way down to 450 as of now, and then all the way down to 1.76 in 2056. So about 30 years from now, there's only going to be one Bitcoin mined per day and 641 per year. And you can see on the far right, we see Bitcoin supply. It starts with around 2.6 mil in its really, really early days, and all the way down to nearly 20 million in 2056. So essentially we are fighting over such a small amount. So we need to get it before it's all gone, and it is so close to being all gone, locked up forever. And essentially we'll just have to buy a Bitcoin when it's 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, because everyone will still want it. Now, Bitcoin's market cap will go to 100 trillion plus. And what I mean by that is it can eat into any market. It can eat into gold, for example. It can eat into equities, bonds, and real estate. It can even just eat into the stock market. It essentially looks around at all asset classes and goes, how can I absorb you, like Pac-Man on the right? Now, its market cap is only 2 trillion. Very, very impressive for 16 years. No marketing team, no business, no CEO. It's done it on its own, and obviously has some value. But gold is essentially gold, and Bitcoin is digital gold. So they're very, very similar in some aspects, but Bitcoin is gold digital gold combined with characteristics of an early tech company. So it can essentially it runs through the internet, it's global, and essentially its value proposition is much higher than gold's market cap. So we will see Bitcoin pass gold, whether that means gold trickles back down to say 15 trillion and Bitcoin starts to absorb that, or gold stays very strong, but Bitcoin eats other things to pass it. And yeah, Bitcoin can eat into real estate, for example. A lot of people just invest in real estate. They'll buy 10 houses and maybe only live in one, purely because they think it's a good savings technology, it's a good asset, and they drive up the house market by doing so. Now, Bitcoin can essentially be a way better savings account, way better investment. And when people start to figure that out, which is already happening, people all over the world are selling their rental properties, selling their houses, selling anything they have to put in Bitcoin, and that will continue. It will also just create a deflationary market, allow us young people buy houses for cheaper because they will be selling it all and putting it into Bitcoin. Bitcoin's very neutral in that way. It benefits all people who try and hold it. Now, Bitcoin's price will reach $1 million very soon in my eyes, and that all it has to do is surpass gold's market cap. Now we look at Bitcoin as a savings technology. As more people allocate even a small portion of their savings to Bitcoin, demand and price could rise sharply. So we look at if everyone around the world wants this Bitcoin, which is what's sort of happening and it's growing at a rapid rate, let's say it reaches 7% of the population want Bitcoin by 2028, which is only 3 years away, the annual inflows could exceed easily $200 billion a year, and that is going to keep its price from dropping. Essentially, it is going to be so much capital flow into Bitcoin that a number like $1 million Bitcoin or $10 million Bitcoin will seem so small because it is effortlessly accomplished in the next 5 years, 10 years. Now, Bitcoin scarcity, divisibility, portability, and durability makes it an attractive alternative to gold and a potential solution to inflation. Not just a hedge against inflation, but a solution to inflation because it's the best damn money in the world. The best money in the world. Trade your crappy dollars today and buy some Bitcoin. The approx Bitcoin allocations right now, this is very approximate. I use Perplexity AI to generate this chart for me, but I think it's pretty accurate. It's very close. I think there's maybe some more lost coins and maybe some more public companies, but yeah, we can still see the individuals nearly take up 70% of the market. This is what you want. There is no monopoly on this. Just because the ETFs are in and Michael Saylor's in, guess what? Us individuals still own a majority of it, and we still have a majority on the say in the network by voting through our nodes. And essentially, the people have the power still. Now, it's not too late. That's another good reason it's not too late. So we look at individuals. They have the most, 68.3%. Lost coins is around 21.1, but I think it could be much higher if you include Satoshi Nakamoto's lost coins, which is 1 million, and maybe that is in that number because that is quite high. Now, private companies 4.3%, government and countries 3.2%, public companies 3.1%. Let's look at ETF Bitcoin allocation. So let's break down who's owning what, and you can look at this. We've got BlackRock. BlackRock has over 625,000 Bitcoin, and they are not slowing down. All the others combined adds up to 1.343731. So yeah, nearly 1.4 million Bitcoin is locked up in ETFs, and that money is not moving anytime soon. And that's just going to keep growing. And once again, there's only 1.5 million on exchanges right now, and only another million to be added to the supply. Running out of time here. We'll look down to the country Bitcoin allocations. We've got the US as number one. Whoop, whoop. Notice how Australia is not on here. We suck. The US nearly has 200,000 Bitcoin, and Trump has announced a Bitcoin strategic reserve, not to be sold, but may acquire more in a budget neutral way. Very good. They will be front running everyone else, and I can see this year potentially them loading their bags with a goal of 1 million in the next 4 years. We'll see what happens. China's in a close second with 190,000, and they essentially also seized all of theirs from criminal activity, as well as the UK, and if we go down to the bottom, North Korea as well. So the only reason they have this is not because they're brilliantly minded and making a big boy play. I think it's they got lucky by seizing it from people using it for criminal activity. Now, El Salvador is something that I want to narrow in here because they are buying 1 Bitcoin a day, and that is gangster. They, to me, are one of the coolest, whatever you call them, countries, states, I don't even know what they are, but they are buying Bitcoin like a boss, and they are finding any way possible. They even made it mandatory legal tender in their country. That has recently been dropped, but it is still available to use. So that's very cool. Imagine going to your grocery stores and you can pay directly over the Lightning Network and pay in Bitcoin. That is where we're heading. Things to remember as I wrap up this video is there's a max supply, 21 million. There's not that many. Most of them are circulating, which means there's not many to come through the mining process. Left to mine 1.1 million Bitcoin on exchanges, 1.5 million. The market cap's only 2 trillion. It's just like one of the smallest asset classes ever. It has so much growth potential. ETF holdings 1.3, US government 200,000, blah blah blah. Now most of the 99% of the supply will be mined in between 2036 and 2040. And I wanted to add this cheeky one in there in 2044 and 2048. So in between those years, there will only be 10 Bitcoin mined a day. The next halving will be 2028, which is 3 years away, and there will only be 1.56 Bitcoin mined per block, and therefore only 225 Bitcoin mined per day. Another key things we want to remember, Michael Saylor's company is buying regardless of whether you want to get Bitcoin or not, and that will drive the price essentially to $1 million. Bitcoin is $100,000 right now, which seems expensive, but you can buy a very, very small percentage. You could buy $10 today or $1. You could buy $100 this week. You could start doing a DCA, buy $100 a week and try and get your allocation up that way. Or I recommend you just smash buy right now because we're about to go to the moon. Buy Bitcoin, hold it and secure it, figure out how to secure it. What's the point of buying it if you're not going to have it in 5 to 10 years? And then sit back, relax and enjoy this ride. Cheers guys for watching. Send me some Satoshis, some Bitcoin through the QR code in the top right. And I appreciate you guys watching, and leave a comment, a like, share it around to your family and friends. And yeah, I'll come back for the next video. Cheers guys. Thanks.